Hi. In my last review, the review of 13 Reasons Why Season 1, I said that that was probably going to be my last video for a while, and I kind of lied. Because that was actually going to be my last ever video in that room. Because Jasmine and I moved out of that dorm room, and we're going to be living in another one in the fall. And that was going to be my last one with Jasmine for a while. Because Jasmine lives in Worcester, and I live in Gloucester, and that's kind of difficult for us to get together. But I'm home here in Gloucester for the summer, and I've been trying to get this young lady here to do a review for me with me, and I was trying to get together with her for the past couple weeks, but something always came up, and I was determined I was gonna make her do a review with me because she's only done one review for this channel. She was in our first ever review, Tulip Fever. Now, and that so far is our only JAR review, J-A-R, Jasmine, Ashley, Rachel. And most of my other reviews have been JR reviews with me and Jasmine. And so tonight is our first ever AR review with Ashley and Rachel. And tonight we're reviewing
Evil Under the Sun.
Yeah, it's either 70s or 80s film adaptation. I didn't check the actual date, but it's a film adaptation of the book of the same name by Agatha Christie. And it's a book that I've read before. I read it a couple years ago, and I reread it today because I just got back from going to New Jersey for the weekend, and I brought it with me to read in the car. And Agatha Christie's novels are the textbook murder mystery whodunit, and this Evil Under the Sun is one of Agatha Christie's not Poirot mysteries.
Murder mystery. Yep.
Yeah, they're Poirot murder mysteries there, and the main character in this series is a Belgian detective who lives in England, and his adventures and all the different cases he solves. And this one takes place at a seaside resort. And in the book, the seaside resort is in southern England, whereas in the movie they made it a little more exotic, and it's in the Adriatic. Yeah, the scenery in this movie is beautiful.
Yeah, I want to go.
Yeah, we want to go there. So yeah, and because Poirot's novels, a lot of them are like, there's one called Death on the Nile, which takes place in Egypt, and he goes to all these different places sometimes. They're not all in England. And I really like the ones that are set abroad because I love to travel, and the books sort of capture the sort of ritual of traveling. Sort of like staying in hotels, travel.
Yeah, that's exciting.
Yeah, staying in hotels.
Luxury places.
Yeah, these like fancy vacations and stuff, and staying in hotels, going to restaurants, and all the sort of crazy people you meet when you're on vacation. And I love to travel, so it's kind of fun because this kind of traveling is a lot fancier than anything I'm used to. And these books were written in the 30s and 40s, and movie adaptations usually take place in the 30s. So it's all this sort of like glamorous 1930s Art Deco stuff.
Yes.
And this particular book takes place with Poirot going to the seaside resort. In the movie, it's the Adriatic, so I'm gonna say it's in the Adriatic, whereas in the actual book, it's southern England. And Poirot goes to this seaside resort, and Poirot is one of those people that, like, he'll be all, I'm just coming here for vacation, and boom, somebody gets murdered.
That's usually how it is.
Yeah, this man cannot catch a break. And staying at this seaside resort is this woman named Arlena Stewart, who's a famous actress, and she's known for being a big man-eater.
Yeah.
Like, she runs around stealing everyone's husbands.
She's
and
a floozy.
Yeah, big floozy, and she's a big gold digger, and she recently got married to this guy, and she's there with him and his daughter, who hates her guts.
Yep, she does.
And the husband knows she's a big trollop, but he's a very sort of stiff upper lip Englishman and doesn't let it bother him, or tries not to let it bother him.
Yeah.
And right now, Arlena is flirting with this man named Patrick Redfern.
Who's very attractive.
Yes, the actor who plays in the movie is very
charming, and he has,
he's very attractive, and so it's obvious why she's after him. And but Patrick is there with his wife.
Yeah.
His wife, Christine, who is the exact opposite of Arlena. She's very shy and mousy. And
she looks ill all the time.
Yeah, she's this sickly little wallflower.
Yeah, it's good.
And the big thing about her is that she gets sunburnt really easily.
Yeah.
Or says she gets sunburnt really easily.
Yeah.
Because she's always wearing, like, big hats and, like, loose flowy clothes that prevent her from getting sunburnt.
Yes.
And there's a whole bunch of other people there who all dislike Arlena for one reason, because that's always the case. Like, you go somewhere, and everyone that hates you happens to be there.
Yes.
And lo and behold, Arlena gets murdered.
Yeah. No surprise.
Yes, and
nobody cares.
Yeah, I'll get to that.
Yeah.
And the books are sort of like textbook murder mystery.
Like Clue.
Yeah, it's pretty much like
or Murder on the Orient Express.
Yeah, because Agatha Christie wrote Murder on the Orient Express.
Like the same.
And so it's sort of like it sets up everyone who's at a certain place, why they're there, their stories, and all that kind of stuff.
Their alibi, yeah.
And then someone gets murdered, and then the detective goes around talking to everyone about getting their stories and trying to figure out who did it.
Yeah.
And then there's a scene at the end where all the suspects are gathered in one room, and Poirot goes around telling what he has figured out actually happened, and ends up pointing out the person that actually did it. And
are we saying who or no? Because what if they watch it?
Maybe we'll get to it.
Okay.
And the thing about a lot of Agatha Christie's stories are you don't really feel bad for the person who died.
Like, oh well.
Yeah, because like, even if they don't necessarily deserve to die, they're no great loss to the world. Because, I don't know, because, like, you don't feel sorry for Arlena because she's really stupid and...
She was a bee.
Yes, and is the kind of person who thinks it's okay to fool around with other people's husbands.
Yes.
Which, I have no sympathy for people like that.
Yeah.
And so, like, you don't... And, like, no one else seems to care, not even her husband and stepdaughter.
Yeah.
Her stepdaughter is actually glad that she's dead.
I was surprised her husband wasn't, like, sad at all. But
No.
I was like, okay.
No, because, like, yeah, no one really liked Arlena, so... And for good reason. And... And differences between the book and the movie, besides the setting, are... There's a character in the book named Miss Brewster. And in the movie, it's Mr. Brewster. For some reason, they made that character a man. And there's the clergyman character who's in the book, and he's not there. And his big thing in the book is that he thinks Arlena's really evil and stuff like that. And two characters are actually combined. There's a character, Mrs. Castle, who owns the hotel, and she's a very minor character. And there's a character named Rosamund something. I forgot what his last name is. What her last name is, and she's sort of an old girlfriend of Arlena's husband, who's been in love with him all this time, and sort of. You sort of get the impression that these two are going to end up together after Arlena dies.
Yeah.
And these two are combined into one character whose name is Daphne Castle. And she's a former acting acquaintance of Arlena, and they don't like each other, and they're always catfighting.
Yeah.
And
it's Maggie Smith, and I love her.
Yeah, Maggie Smith, when she was
really young.
When she was younger, plays Daphne, and Diana Rigg is Arlena.
Yeah, she's a good actress.
Yeah, the performances in the movie are very good. You got I think it's Peter Ustinov who's playing Poirot, and he's really funny because like Poirot is kind of an over the top character. He's this funny looking little Belgian guy with a funny mustache.
I liked him.
But he's really smart. He's very weird, but he's very smart.
Yeah.
And so like, and some of the costumes are weird because they're supposed. Yeah, the costumes are a whole lot of what the fuck. And because like it's 1930s clothing.
Yeah.
Through the lens of the 1980s.
Yeah.
So it's like
weird.
So it's like
Wonder Bread, like it was.
No.
Oh, sorry.
I'm getting to that.
Okay.
There's like shoulder pads up the wazoo in these costumes. Cause like me, I love fashion, especially historical fashion. So I always notice the costumes. And there are movies that I haven't really cared for, like the movie The Duchess, which Jasmine and I reviewed. It had beautiful costumes, but it's kind of a bland movie.
Yeah, and depressing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the costumes are great.
Yeah, the costumes are beautiful in Duchess, but yeah, and like the 1930s is one of the time periods I'm really interested in. So like, and like a lot of these costumes are like 1980s or like are 1930s to like the 1980s, so a lot of shoulder pads. And Arlena wears this one costume, I swear, looks like the packaging of Wonder Bread. It's
That's what I was...
it's like a white outfit.
It's ugly.
It's a white outfit. It has like red, blue, and yellow polka dots on it, and it looks like the packaging on Wonder Bread. And there's this character named Mrs. Gardner who, in both the book and the movie, is really obnoxious, and she has this insane outfit. It's like a big hat.
Oh yeah.
And the front of whatever she's wearing has a huge bow, and the costume is made out of this like blue and white print fabric, and it looks like it's made of like it looks like it's made out of this like
the picnic table, like
it looks like it's made out of like it looks like it's made out of like a cheap plastic tablecloth. You like get in a package at the grocery store to like use at your barbecue or something.
So it's like,
and this is our spoiler corner.
Okay. So.
And.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
Stop if you don't want to.
Yeah. Stop if you don't want to.
Keep listening, because if you want to see the movie.
Keep listening, so. And it turns out that Patrick Redfern, Arlena's supposed boy toy.
Yes.
Is the one that actually killed her.
Yep, he strangled her.
Yeah, he strangled her, and
after they made love.
and guess who was his accomplice?
I wish we had sound effects.
His wife.
His wife.
So his wife turns out not to be such a mousy little thing like she thought she was. She was just sort of pretending to throw suspicion off of her, and because like one of the things is the wife's very pale, and Arlena has a suntan.
Yes. So
she's been wearing these heavy clothes to make people think like she doesn't go out in the sun. So. Yeah. Because at one point in the plan, they find Arlena's body lying on the beach, and the wife at one point was a body double for Arlena because they knocked Arlena out and dragged her off somewhere, and the wife laid there in her place.
And took her clothes. And
the wife laid there in her place, and then the husband strangled Arlena.
Yes.
And then they put her body back.
Yep.
And they weren't suspicious that they actually believed that the wife was Arlena because she had like a suntan, and the wife put this like suntan lotion on to make herself look tanner than she was. And so like she was wearing all these like heavy long clothes to hide the fact that she was planning on wearing a fake suntan at one point. And there's another Agatha Christie book that I mentioned earlier, Death on the Nile, which I also read going down because the books aren't that short. Like the trip down to New Jersey is anywhere from like 4 to 6 hours long, depending on traffic and stuff like that. So I usually can finish one of the books like in that time frame. Like I read Death on the Nile, driving down, and I read Evil Under the Sun coming back, and Death on the Nile, and Evil Under the Sun are really good companion pieces because they have similar plot. Because in Death on the Nile, the woman that gets killed is this rich heiress, and she's there with her honeymoon, and the husband's ex-girlfriend is stalking them.
Oh wow. That's interesting.
Because his ex-girlfriend was the heiress's best friend who stole him from her. So like the heiress stole her best friend's boyfriend and married him. So, and in that story, spoiler alert, you find out that the husband and the ex-girlfriend were plotting to kill the heiress for her money, which is sort of a similar thing that happens with Patrick Redfern and his wife.
Yeah, so it's like similar themes.
Yeah.
Or whatever you call it, similar plot.
So I recommend reading the book, and I recommend watching the movie. And that is all. Good night.
Good night.